Do 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 do. Wait, this isn't where we want to put this. Okay, we have a problem. The problem is we do not... So I'm trying to handle the thing where we click in there and it's outside the dead zone and it scrolls, right? So the thing is we are setting cursor tracking mouse and then updating that later, right? Which happens here, which is not what we want. Okay. So we could say get insert point for cursor. Actually, no, we know mouse X. All right, so okay. We know mouse X here. So, well, okay. Okay. Okay, the weird thing is, I don't think we get mouse position on a button event right now, which we honestly should. We just treat them as keyboard messages. Okay. Okay, so anyway, here's what we do is we say right now we just disable this thing. Oh my God, dude. Here is the flaw in the system. We're getting our states, because we're doing imGUI stuff, we're getting our state struct during the draw call, right? Our input update is not during the draw call. So so anyway, we will put this on the text input for now, but we really would like to move it off. Okay. And once we do that, for now, we're initially just going to kill the dead zone. All right, so we're going to say, if you click out there, we are not going to dead zone you. I think we could just do that, right? Nope, wrong thing. Wrong thing. Theme, undeclared identifier. Oh God, we can't even get the fucking theme, dude. Okay, this is a problem. Okay. We're going to do this. Did initial mouse click, so check for dead zone. Change. That's what we're going to put. All right. Oh my God, what a disaster. Okay. Okay. So we're going to say if this, okay, this is false. Now we're going to check the mouse X. Okay, so now we have the theme, we get the margin. We know the dead zone X0 and X1, and in fact, we know the margin. Okay, so if we're less than dead zone X0, actually, really, it's insert X, right? That's really what we want. Except that's not updated yet. So down there is, let's delete this. We don't want that. This is the thing that does oh, this thing's gross if it's not cold enough. Hold on. Okay. I had a tea during my break. I went to the Starbucks. They actually let me sit down inside the Starbucks. So someday this might be a free country again. Who knows? They didn't even need to see my vaccine passport to let me sit down inside the Starbucks. It's pretty amazing. Okay. Now, it's Mouse X. I mean, honestly, I was getting a little fat lately, so we need to cut down on the snacks. We need to reduce the snack intake. Okay, so DX here is how we get back to the dead zone. Okay, so I think maybe this may work or may not. Dead zone X0 is a float. Whoops. Okay, so it's not freaking out yet. That's great. We're going to paste. Okay, well, it already... Oh, because I clicked outside the dead zone. Let's just restart that for a second. We're clicking inside. Paste, 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 paste. Clicking inside. I'm going to manually go. Okay. Still working. All this code is still working as planned. That's great. So now, though, I'm going to do the thing that used to make it freak out. I'm going to click outside the dead zone. And it works. Okay, now the problem is that regardless of where the cursor goes, now there's no more. In fact, yeah, the dx equals 0 is not what we want. What we actually do want is the following. We want to say essentially that the margin is 0. Well, okay, let's... Okay, shrunken dead zone margin equals dead zone x1. No. X, okay. Okay. So, we've got our new shrunken margin. Okay. Now, if we shrink dead zone margin, so this dx stuff is going to go down here. So here we're going to say, we recompute this. Okay. Why do I keep running the wrong thing? Okay, we need to add this. Actually, this shrink dead zone margin can be on the state. This can be back here. That could be there. Okay, so shrink dead zone mark state dot. Boom, boom, boom. 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 Okay. Here, copy, paste to paste to paste. We have not done anything bad yet. Okay. So now I'm going to click, but I'm going to click like out here. Okay. So that should have killed the margin to that point. So if I go left, there we go. See? Now I go right. And if I go left, we'll have a smaller margin, but we still have one, right? Isn't that great? And we have a smaller margin on both sides. That's a little weird, but okay. It's how it's designed. This is great. This is very good. Okay, so now, brown cow, we want to grow that margin if we have the opportunity, right? Like, we really want to do this down here again. We're going to collapse this into one variable, I think. But anyway, because we want to go here, and then we want to say like this. Okay. So this is stupid, like, because we're just going to recompute it anyway. But the point is, this is on the initial set, and this is every frame now. We're going to detect it and max it. But min of new margin and the actual margin, because actually okay, this is fine. So actually, we're just going to do this. Okay, we're just going to keep this simple. We're going to let this get bigger. Now we're going to say if state.shrunken dead zone margin is greater than or equal to margin, else here. I think we're going to be able to remove this. See, sometimes I know this code can be a lot simpler than it is, but I'd rather just type it out and make it work and put no check-ins, because then we at least get it done. And then we can factor out this stuff. So here we just reset. And right now, the reason I'm doing this, oh, actually, we don't need to do this. Because I thought we adjusted dead zone, but we didn't. We don't do it till here. No need to shrink the margin anymore and turn off shrink mode. So state.shrunken dead zone margin and state.shrink dead zone margin equals -1, false. We're going to be able to get rid of that bool, I think. Okay, so we're here, we're copying, we're pasting a bunch. I clicked in the middle, I go, it's fine. Now I'm going to click outside, boom. Oh, it didn't work. That's so bad. What happened? What did I do? Okay, we shouldn't use mouse X float here. This isn't going to really change it, but we want to use insert X. I think we want to use insert X. Oh no, except that doesn't, okay, this is complicated. Oh my God. Okay, so we're going to keep it nailed down. We're handling it. So the question is, why is this being weird? So we see that we clicked outside the dead zone, hopefully, right? We said we have a margin. It's smaller than before. Okay. Now we get down here. It's the same condition. So we should hit this, right? This is redundant. So we shouldn't really need most of this. I think we're going to set the margin to a dummy value and get rid of the bool, like 0. So -1 could mean we're not shrinking, right? And 0 could mean we're shrinking, but we want it to init. And this would be if it's not equal to -1. But I don't want to do that until I see why this isn't working. So we come down here. We say, is the mouse less than dead zone x0, which it should be, right? New margin is where it is. Oh, yeah, okay. That's what we did. Oops, see, I deleted the wrong things. Because here, this would always set it back to the original margin, which is the same as if we didn't do anything. So copy, paste. We're here, we're going there, we're going there. It's all good. We're going to click here. Boom. Hey. Okay. Right. So this is the fact that it's using the mouse X, right? That's not good. So it worked fine when I clicked, but then as I move the mouse, it comes out. Click, move mouse, click, move mouse. Okay. What I would like to do is first simplify away the Boolean, and then we'll get rid of that mouse X. And so the reason we're using mouse X here, because what we care about is where the insert point is. But the problem is the code to set the insert point based on when you click happens down here. and we need to move it up, but that might be hard, right? So I'm breaking it into one problem at a time so that I don't get killed by all the, because there's just a bunch of fiddly things to think about, and you want to make progress and not get killed by those. So you make your universe simpler until you're ready to handle the new things. Okay, so we didn't need this. Now I'm going to get rid of shrink dead zone margin. I'm going to say shrunken dead zone margin greater than or equal to 0 means it's active. All right, so we're going to get rid of this. We're going to get rid of the variable over here. I'm just leaving it in the source code in case I decide I need it back. So here we just set the value. And so -1 means not active. All right, so again, we set it to -1 when we want to turn it off. Okay. Okay, so we still didn't fix the mouse X thing, but everything else is hopefully good. Left, right, left, click, click. Okay, yeah, so we still have the mouse X, but you know, we can click and it's fine. Okay, great. So let's get rid of those. I was just being conservative about this, no check-in, but get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of, all right. Here, okay, so we're going to set these to 0 instead of actually computing it, because we're just going to overwrite it below, right? So basically, if our click point is on either side of this thing, we go into shrink mode. All right. So if I click here, we are still in shrink mode. That's great. Okay. Now we need to fix that mouse drag problemo. And to do that, let's see what this code is. So this is all just moving like the camera position based on, you know, the insert point. It does seem like, in general, it seems like bad style to do that before updating the insert point. Anyway, that's a frame laggy thing to do, right? So let's just try moving the insert point up. Okay, so here we go. We do this. Let's say the insert point. Do this before any other oh no. Font.temporary glyphs still holds the text we just drew. We didn't draw it yet. That's why this was down there. Okay. Glyphs prepped is false. The glyphs are not prepped. This could screw us up. This is a major change. Okay. Glyphs are not prepped. They will be later. If selection is active, we update. Okay. Yeah, so I was trying to be a little bit CPU efficient before, which was why that was down there. It was like, draw the text, and then we have all the glyphs lined up in this buffer that we use to draw them, so we can also use that to do the thing, right? Okay, the problem here is we're using the wrong text X now. We want yeah. Let's do this. Yeah, okay. So it's like if you clicked, you saw something, you clicked in that point. So this is what you saw, like where the text was lined up at. I can't type. Maybe I should just use infinities instead of -1 or whatever. Like if somebody draws a widget slightly off the screen, like you could be -1, right? It's like there's all these tiny landmines where if you don't think about them, your thing sucks, right? And doing a high quality version of this involves just getting your mind around all those things. Which is why you shouldn't do this in a state of extreme distraction. Okay, so I'm going to click here. Boom. That didn't work. Boom. That did work. Oh, wait, except... Oh, we're still following the mouse anyway. So that didn't work, though. Okay, hold on. We're going to have to step into this because it might be making some other assumptions. Anyway, so we update that, then we do these things. And then instead of using mouse X, we will use insert X. Which should be valid. So we want to say insert X in both of these now. Okay. Then we could just do this. Okay. So this probably will still, I didn't do anything to fix that misbehavior that we just saw. So let's just make sure before we even do the clicking that it works without the clicking, and it is. It's staying inside the window. We get this nice range. When we run out of range, we go toward the edge. That is all great. So now what is not great is when I click here, it probably doesn't work. Yeah, it moved. So that's a thing to figure out. This is actually, oh, weird. Wait, when I click here, we're getting the wrong insert point. So that's sort of the problem. Like, okay, we need to figure out, am I not ever setting, I'm not setting last displayed text X, am I? I knew I forgot. Yeah, we're never setting it. So it's infinity. We're just doing math with infinity. We're just casually, you know, there's some math book called The Man Who Knew Infinity about a smart mathematician. Today, I am the man who knew infinity, because I just use infinity all the time. So last displayed text X needs to get set after we display the text. This still may not fix everything, but it sure makes more sense. All right, here we go. Still going back and forth. This is fine. This is fine. Now we click between A and D. It worked. I can go left. We still go. I can go right. And then I can, yes. I no longer know infinity, but I do know slightly better functioning text boxes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So then the question is how, when we do this, I mean, that's kind of reasonable, actually. We might want to slow it down a little later, but like, for a first cut, this is fine. It's frame rate dependent right now, like how fast this goes, right? So we want to probably chill on that. But I'm pretty happy with this, honestly. Let's try the right justified. Do you have a working right justified scroll thingy called the troll room? Bro, this was easier than I thought. This might have taken hours, but it took 40 minutes. Bro, okay, we get to comment it now and stuff as well. Does it have Control A? Yes. Here's what Control A, copy, paste, flood control dam number 3. Will I port this back into Sokoban? I think eventually, yes. Part of the test of what we're doing here is we want to put this all together for people to use, and we want you to be able to use it without thinking very hard. Like, you should just be able to make a program, load up simp, and load this, and just have a bunch of widgets, and it renders in GL or whatever, and you don't care. But also, though, if you need a custom rendering backend or you don't want to use simp or whatever, we're making it pluggable. And actually, one of the secret things I did, so yesterday I did 11 and a half hours of programming on stream. And then after I ended the stream, I was like, oh, I got a little more energy. So I did some stuff to start making this module this widget module pluggable into other backends than simp. So even though we used simp before and it still uses it by default now, you can actually, when you import it, tell it to use something else. And this is going to be a nice test of the module system and program parameters and all that. Like, it's finally mature enough that we have answers to this kind of question. Like, how do you make it not a pain in the butt? Like, how do you make it super easy to just use something and get started, but also make it really flexible so you can like swap stuff out? And that is working, and it's great. Can you select whole words one by one? No, we don't do whole words yet. We do one character at a time. So if I go shift left arrow, we get one character, but the control doesn't do anything extra. So that's on the list for later. That I was going to stream fixing some bug garden things. We did stream some bug garden fixes, but maybe not as many. I don't think I went and did that. I think I decided, since what you were talking about, I think I decided to just go attack this because I want to bring value to the people, right? Okay. So this is pretty good. Let's put on the list frame rate dependence when dragging outside, dragging the selection outside the margins. Also want themed speed control, right? So we'd like you to be able to set on the checkbox theme or the dialog box, the whatever theme, the text input theme, how, yeah. Can simp has command palette widget? I don't know what command palette widget means. It probably doesn't have that right now. Will it have it later? I don't know. This is not simp though. This is a separate module. Do I have a rough estimate on how much the standard libraries cover today? I mean, how do you quantify that? There's just a bunch of modules that we have that you could use, and they do different things. Can I describe simp UI? And there is no simp UI. There's simp, which is just a graphics API. Where it's an extremely simple graphics API where you say draw rectangles and stuff, right? So this thing is, you know, buttons and checkboxes and stuff. And so it's using simp to draw all the text and the rectangles by default. But it doesn't have to, right? If you give it something else to plug into now, it should, in theory, use the something else. You know, I haven't tested that. We will make a test of it in the end. Actually, let's put that on the, yeah. But like, actually I could show you guys, so we have this draw procs thing here, right? Where you can plug in all the procedures to do. This is basically everything that this widget library needs in order to draw all the widgets, right? And so by default, it gets these from simp, but you can give them in a different way. So like in this module parameters, you can pass a program parameter called the type indicator. Actually, so, okay. It's better than just plugging in the procedures because like maybe you use a different window creation module, right? Maybe if you're not using simp, you've got a different type for your font library and stuff. So what you do is you pass it a type that binds all these things. So you say, what is font here? Well, it's whatever type indicator.font is, right? And what's texture? So if you use a different rendering library with a different definition of texture, then we use that, right? Now, these things do have to have like certain members and stuff on them, but you could make that up. You could make an intermediate type if you wanted to bridge that between, you know, someone else's data type and this. So it's pretty cool. You cannot remotely do this in C++ because this doesn't require like header file visibility or anything to do this. And, okay, so because this is a program parameter, so the main program defines what this is, how it wants to draw. Anybody else who imports this module doesn't know or care about that, and it doesn't need any visibility into it, and it just works automatically. So you could have a module that's like, hey, I do this cool compound console that has 17 checkboxes along the top and a big text window and then a couple inputs and stuff, right? And it just draws all those widgets. And for that, it calls into this, right? But it doesn't need to know this parameter either because it's a module and not the main program, right? And it all works. Well, we'll build the test of it, but it works so far just great. And I'm very happy with that. Would that be slower? It's a little bit slower in principle because you're calling, this drawprox is, it's calling through a function pointer, right? So this is kind of like a vtable in C++, except less hidden and magical. However, we could in the future, even, it's like just a little bit, it's just a little bit more code to do the static version of this, because when you call a function, you can just say load texture from file or whatever. And we could static if this to either make this be from a statically defined function or from a pointer if you give it a pointer, right? Or, I mean, I guess it could be statically defined either way. Anyway, I decided not to worry about that yet because this even gives the user the capability to swap these out at runtime if you wanted to. But we could do it statically at import time if that speed delta became a question. Can you do animations and more complex visual effects on the UI with simp? Yeah, you totally could. There's a little bit, simp doesn't really let us do like masking with an alpha mask yet, which is like the one thing that it probably needs. But once we add that, like all this stuff is good to go, I think. Does load work if the file name has a space in it? Yeah. Does. Like how much has been covered, say, from STL in the standard model? No, you don't benchmark against something that you don't like. Like I don't like STL. I never use it. We would not attempt to duplicate that because part of the working thesis of this project is that software right now is way too big of a pile of garbage, right? So what we need to do is reduce the size of the pile of garbage that you need to work with in order to do anything, right? You don't copy STL. You do the smallest, best thing that you can figure out how to do that gives you all the functionality that you really need, right? That's the working thesis of one of the many working theses of this compiler. What's next? Well, we're going to check in, and then I don't know. What's next? Do we care about the flickering? No. Okay, we have to comment the code because we did a bunch of complicated stuff. So we're going to comment and then check in. I guess we'll try to look at the flickering. It's tempting to move on to another widget, but I have to go in like an hour and a half. And so commenting and then fixing the flickering might be good. And then for the end of this stream might just be like, cool, the text input is done. Oh no, we have to do, we haven't done autocomplete yet. We have not done autocomplete yet. It's built in. It works in the Sokoban version. We need to put autocomplete in the demo and use that. So, yes. And that's going to mean adding another frickin' text input. Okay, there's lots of little things to do still. Carmack saying that everyone should use STL if they don't care about performance. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't know. Like John Carmack got some weird opinions at some point that I kind of disagree with. And I think it comes from, like, he was doing code quality analysis on like Rage and stuff for a while, right? And I don't know. I think he came to some conclusions from that I don't necessarily like, but who knows? Who knows? What do I think of Carmack's functional Lisp kick? I do not like that as well. I already did my time in the Lisp mines. I don't think it's good. I thought it was good in college when I was taught that it was good, and then I learned better later. So, yeah. I mean, I understand how it could be fun if you haven't really toyed around with Lisp stuff heavily in the past, but like, I would not go that way. Do I think there's a good way to spread programming knowledge in a small team? You know, honestly, that's not something that I've ever done a good job at or worked on, so I can't give advice. Do I prefer reading real books or PDFs? Real books. They're just better. Okay, let's comment some things. Okay. We do not have access to the hash for the widget here because that is only available in draw because it depends on the source code location. We could save the last hash or something, but absent that, we cannot we set a Boolean that says to in the state in the draw routine, maybe we would prefer to set that Boolean on the state struct if we could get it. In general, this is shows the weird duality between part of this widget, which is GUI-like, and the between the drawing part and the input and storage parts, which aren't. Maybe we should go GUI with the whole thing, in which case the user would pass us a state struct holding the memory insert point, etc. Each frame. We'll see how this goes structurally. Okay, so here, all right, we're gonna have to write a big thing about, oh, okay. This is not the big thing yet. Okay. We need to figure out whether the user clicked where in the text the user clicked. We used to do this after rendering the text, so we knew for sure where it was, but this is a little more laggy with regard to where the cursor appears one frame late. And it was not helpful with regard to the new dead zone code. here, get insert point for cursor. Now we do this before drawing. We need to know where the text was last frame. Though we aren't quite recomputing that here if the user level code is drawing this text input at different coordinates than it was drawn last frame. Anyway, which is why we use it here. Frame to frame feedback is slightly scary, but it makes sense in this case because, hey, this is what the user clicked on. Okay, so we get insert point for cursor. Boom. Okay, so we do that. Do we have other no check-ins? Yes. Okay, we fixed that one. But we want a big explanation here. In general, when the user is moving the cursor around inside text that is wider than the rect used to draw this text input, suppose the user is moving the cursor around inside text is wider than the rect used to draw this text input so that only a portion of the text can be seen at one time. We want to have some margin around the cursor so that you can see past it on the right or left. That's what theme.text insert margin is for. However, what happens if the user clicks to set the insert point at a coordinate, like at a point, I want to say at a point, and that sounds confusing. Clicks to set the insert point such that it is inside this margin. We don't want to move the text because that the text to put the insert point into the margin because that is disorienting to the user and it results in other bad feedback like selecting a potentially large region of the text because it moved under the cursor. So when clicking inside these margins, we shrink the margins so that the cursor is now in the dead zone. Non-zero, you still get a bit of context on the side as you scroll. If the cursor closer back toward the middle so that the margin can grow, we grow it. When the margin is restored to its original desired size, we are back to normal. Okay, something like that. All right. Great. That's probably enough of an explanation. Does anyone feel like I didn't explain something? We had that explanation, and then we had that explanation. Am I looking to generate some docs-like browsable page from comments? No, I hate that stuff. No. I let people on the team try and do that, and it's terrible. I mean, it's fine for certain purposes, like what functions are in this module, but it is not documentation. It never will be documentation. No. What's really happening is you should not be afraid to read source code. If you're used to source code being way too ugly for you to read, maybe we need to make source code better. Like if your idea of source code is GNU libc, then I don't blame you for never wanting to look at it and instead only wanting to look at an auto-generated digestion of it. But source code should not look like GNU libc, all right? That's embarrassing. GNU libc is well documented. I mean, that is true. You can read the man pages for all the functions, right? That is good. That is much better than some other source code, such as LLVM, right? Like, libc is amazingly documented compared to the LLVM API, for example. Okay. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're about to add yet another text input because it's going to have autocomplete. But again, we don't like have global focus control. So in this sample program, okay, hold on. First, let's check in. Okay, we got rid of those. Let's run the tests. And we're going to check this in. We're going to say, nice behavior when clicking outside the dead zone in text input. Okay. Ba-bam. Great. So we need to make another another text input. Here's what we're going to do. Okay, this is a little silly, but let's do this. What am I doing? It's C++. All text inputs okay. Achoo! Okay, so so I'm just going to sort this out for a second. So firstly, we're going to handle event and we're going to pass. Okay, actually, when we init, we're going to say array add all text inputs, input A, right? A, B, C. These are going to be pointers here. Okay, now when we do the input, instead of this, we're going to go for all text inputs, handle event, it dot input, it dot rect event. All right. If it dot input dot active for other all text inputs, if other is dot input dot active, well, let's do this. If other input dot active and other is not equal to it, deactivate other dot input. Okay, So this is like, we're kind of just emulating what you would do in a system. Like, oh, this input has the focus, the other ones don't, right? But this is just happening at user level, right? And like, we don't care how many text inputs there are. We're just going to do input on all of them. Okay. Now, we need to change what's going on down here. Oh, so we're going to do that. So if you hit escape, we just deselect any text input that's active, right? Okay. So for this theme, I think we're going to say input a.rect, right? Input b.rect, input c.rect. We don't want to draw these in a loop just because we're doing slightly different things for all of them. So we might as well just like roll it out, right? And then, so this is going to be input a.input, right? Input b.input, input c.input. So I probably messed some stuff up there, but no, it's the wrong thing. Wrong thing. There we go. Text input a, yeah. Oh, we got to init them. Yeah, let's do this. Okay. Oh, add text input. All right. Right, and just add text input is going to be info is all text inputs dot add info dot input. Oh, wait. This is like, okay. I confused myself. Right. Okay. No. This is fine. This is fine. This was fine. Array add all text inputs input A. Okay, this is fine. C, B. Okay, great. This is input A dot input. Okay. For all text inputs, set current time. I wasn't even doing this on input C, guys. I don't know how that was working. Okay. Let's actually put that in. That might already be in the to-do list. Yeah. Let's move this one up because that's a thing we should do soon. Okay. Set current time. For now, we're just going to still set it on all the guys. Okay. Other.input.active, bro. No, run example. There we go. Okay, so still working. Still working. This is great. This is great. That's great. That's great. That's great. That's working. That's working. That's working. Yeah, okay. We're doing great, everybody. Doing great. Okay. So this just means it's easy for me to add more text inputs. And I want to make one, I don't know, just somewhere else that has autocomplete. All right. So we're going to need some things. I mean, if we want some good words, we could use these ones. Do we still avoid dot call syntax? Yes. Do you have the equivalent of module type params? I don't know what that means. Types are just values here, like they would be in a functional language. So anything that's a parameter can be a type. I don't know what this spirit rack is. Is that somebody's fan game? It's literally, there's no link. There are this many Z code interpreters that people name them all after spells. This is making me not want to use these. Let's pick, we already use spells anyway. Let's pick something else. Was it just context-free autocomplete? What do you mean by context-free? Basically, you give it well, we'll look at it. D&D classes, T names. I think the T names is good. So here we go. So our T's in our example program, our T's are Earl Grey, English breakfast. Actually, let's do Singapore breakfast. Bengal spice, of course. Hot cinnamon spice. What do I even do I have for pu'er teas? I do not have any pu'er teas in the house right now. Ah, my chair rolled back behind me. Someday that's going to kill me on stream. Let's see. Oh, there's a Blue Mountain Tea Company. I'm just checking to make sure that there's... Let's not do that. Okay, this is all our teas. Okay. Maybe we need even more to make autocomplete make sense. We need some more green teas. We need like again my it's funny, I drink so much tea and I can't remember any. Yeah, we could put jasmine. Let's put jasmine pearl. Sencha's a good. Yokuro, yeah. Okay. So rooibos, I don't like rooibos, so it's kind of, we'll put it on there. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we do, it's true that the guanyin is, yeah. We don't want to have a category error. I drank all my oolongs, so I don't have any other ones to look at. The only oolongs that I have left are labeled in Chinese, and I can't read them. Oh, no. I've got... On the bottom of the can, they have some translations. I misspelled. Okay, this is a lot of things. It's still not really enough to do good. Do we at least have some things starting with the same letter? There's some R's. There's some G's. Okay, anyway. So we have our T's. And we're going to make another input. So okay, so down here, I want to put this text input somewhere else. Get rect one, let's say 300 700 okay, so we're going to do that. We're just going to let it be left aligned. Input T's. Okay, so that is not going to have any autocomplete on it yet, but we're just going to make sure it's there. Why is it? Why is it frickin'? Oh, because we're passing the same text theme. Duh. I was like, why is it right justified? Okay, so we want autocomplete. Now it occurs to me that autocomplete is going to suck with right justify, and we might not want to bother with that right now. But anyway, okay, so let's look at autocomplete and how that works. I don't remember how we turn it on. Warning, some of this code may trigger me because I did not write it. So we have this autocomplete proc, and we say set autocomplete. All right. So we could say set autocomplete on input T's dot input autocomplete T's, and we're just going to pass null for the data because why not? So what is this function? It takes a string. Okay. So we're just going to say results is whatever string results dot allocators temporary allocator for T's if begins with, we might need to import string to get begins with. If begins with it comma input what is longest match? Is that the index? That's the longest match length. Fucking hate that function called slice. Let's okay. That triggers me. So longest match length. What I don't understand is why I have to compute that for you. Like, why doesn't the widget just look at all the matches? So that's a thing to think about. Like, come on, bro. Okay. Let's say 0. Longest match length is max length. Input.count, right? Return. And I have to go array add results. It. Okay. That's a colon. Okay. Uh-oh. We're trying to render a bunch of unknown glyphs. That's bad news, bears. Oh, you know, it probably can't be temporary storage. Let's just try this. Okay, we're not freaking out. Okay. So it's turning red when we go past any of the choices. I don't exactly like that because it should tell me how much is correct, right? Oh, but I did comment out part of the rendering. That's the other thing. So I probably commented out the part about the completion. Okay, but it does. So if I do, so one of our T's was Earl Grey, right? So if I go early, it knows the Y is wrong. It's just not drawing everything yet. So let's go back to that. So yeah, here it was, autocomplete color. So we're probably going to want to be able to customize the autocomplete color, but yeah, hopefully those parameters are in the right order. Nope. Font, text X, text Y, text, color, effect. Whoops, I ran it. Okay. Earl, okay, you can see it says Earl Grey there, but man, that it's, if I go capital G, it's completing it Genmai Cha, but I can hit tab. There we go. So I can hit tab to cycle through the completions, right? And hit enter. I hit R and we get Royal Puer, we get Roibus. It completed the O because there were only 2 options. So that's cool. Color choice is perfect. Yeah, I don't think so. So we're going to have to make that. Okay. Royal Puer. Yeah, so with Autocomplete different color for correctly matching versus non-matching. Although, like, the autocomplete function is not going to tell us that. All right, let's put this in here. I don't see what's the point in returning longest match length. That's just making you do work for no reason. I mean, I guess it's sort of an efficiency thing because you already did a pass over all the things, but like you're complicating the usability for a negligible amount of speed in pretty much any case. Okay. So we need to be able to theme this. So autocomplete color is just the text color with a very low alpha. So let's not do that. Autocomplete color is text color autocomplete. It looks to me like we overwrite the alpha down here because I put a 0.15, but then oh, only if tab is pressed. But we wouldn't get here if tab is not pressed. Oh, yeah, we do. Okay, I see. All right. Okay, so Royal Puer. That is hella ugly. Oh my God. Let's make it. Okay, we need to customize this color as well, which is like autocomplete failing text. These colors are awful, but like I said, I guess we're not going to try that hard to make them good. Autocomplete completion. So where does it set that? Down here. Okay, this longest match is not, I see, it's not what I thought it was. Longest match is supposed to be like how much matched. That's why we're not drawing. So like if you mismatch, it's supposed to say, well, we got 0 results. However, the amount that we got is like 3 or whatever, right? And so you put 3 and then the rest in red. So that's why we're going completely in red right now, is because I'm not returning that result correctly. I would like to see what Sokoban does for that. That's not horrendously inefficient. But it feels to me like the text input should just remember how much you typed successfully. Like, why do I need your autocomplete to tell me? Unless your autocomplete can change its mind behind the scenes, which I don't know, maybe that's a thing. But like, why don't we just remember how much was successful? Will the witness be open source? No, not anytime soon. RTX mod? No. An RTX mod would wreck the game and break all the puzzles. Are you fucking kidding me? There are puzzles in the witness that only work because light does not contaminate the room in the wrong way. The ray tracing cave of wonders. Yeah. Okay. What does Sokoban do for longest match? This is also something that needed to be documented and wasn't. Like, I shouldn't have been confused knowing what that means. Okay. So it's a good, whenever you spot that, whenever you're confused, just take a look and say like, what's going on? Okay. Let me look for whoever sets this. What did we call? Because I know we use autocomplete in Sokoban. We say set autocomplete. Set autocomplete. Entity panel sets it. Named catalog autocomplete. All right. So what is info.stride? All right. It begins with count. So this just manually does the thing. Okay. We're just going to, because we want things to work right now, we're just going to put this in. But I don't really like this. All right, so if begins with, so if those match, right, so max match as max match count. All right. All right. Let's actually okay. Counting on you. Okay, R Royal Puer, O Y L K M N P. So there you go. Doesn't match. Okay, so for the autocomplete succeed, I think I want to go kind of blue. Like, again, we're going to do real colors way later, but so autocomplete succeed is like a blue, and autocomplete failed is going to be like a red, like that. Okay. Roy Orbison. Still, why does this autocomplete succeeded color suck so bad? Okay, you know what? I think it's time. I mean, the violet's been fun, but holy crap, dude. I mean, maybe it won't look as fun. Okay. General Tso's chicken. That's not too bad, right? This still looks... like, the red is fine. This is not. All right. Why? You know what? That's like not that different from the actual text color. Like, it's exactly the same. Let's just go. I don't know, dude. I just want anything, right? Anything. There we go. That's ugly. That's ugly, but it's fine. I know we can choose palettes on the internet. So the thing is, that'll take hours. When you're actually trying to get colors to look good, it takes a long time. All right. We're not trying to do that right now. We're just trying to get some colors that are kind of unambiguous what's happening. And that's it. So here, this is fine, right? It doesn't look good. It actually looks better. This actually doesn't look that bad. But still, in the long term, we will do a special theming stream where we pick good colors. But that is not what we are doing right now. It's still flickering. Maybe that's the next thing to do. Except it's time for me to take a break again soon. Because I have an actual call at 6 and I want to be fresh and rested for that. Let's do a little bit of, a tiny bit of documentation. Actually, no, because we're going to change. Okay, so now I understand why we have to return the longest match in that old way of doing things is because okay, what do people think? The problem with doing the longest match in this way is you kind of can't use a hash table or anything to look up your stuff because you always have to tell me what characters match, all right? So like you always have to go over every entry character by character, or maybe you have a try that you put them in, which is a crappy data structure that nobody should ever care about. So either you put these in a try or you're iterating over them. And the only reason you would want the try is for autocomplete, right? On the other hand, if the widget just remembers, excuse me, if the widget just remembers how much you typed, then the user doesn't need to do any of this. And writing autocomplete gets simpler. Now, the downside of that is it could get the wrong answer if you change your mind about the autocompletes. Then it has no way of knowing what is right. But I'm not sure if that matters. But it is an operative issue. Try catch. I feel like it should be the other way around. I think, okay, well, hold on, because you can't really use a hash table either to make subsets matches. I mean, maybe you have to use a try to do autocomplete. Like, what else would you use? Like, if I want to know, someone out there with a computer science education, tell me, if I want to match from 10 trillion strings and I want to know everything that matches an arbitrary prefix, how do I do that? I mean, you could think of doing some kind of compound try where you hash the first 8 characters, hash the second 8, and so forth. And you match on that, on those hashes. And then if a hash ever doesn't match anybody, then you have to check. But like that doesn't help you with the root of the tree, which is where there's the most volume. Like if you type something that doesn't match anyone. What is my hesitation about using a try? It's just that it's not a data structure you would use for anything normally, right? Like if you could do this matching using a data structure that you would already have laying around that you used for other things, then it would be like, oh, cool, we should design for that. But if it's really just like, look, you're either going to use a try or iterate over everything. If that's really the only way to do autocomplete, then it doesn't matter. And it's actually, maybe this is the most robust way to do it. Boyer Moore, isn't that a paint store? I don't know what that means. Okay, we're going to leave it as it is because I don't have a better idea, and I don't like the small amount of lack of robustness that comes in with doing it the other way. But we may reverse this decision in the future. Okay, so autocomplete. So to add autocomplete to a text input, implement a function of type autocomplete and call set autocomplete. The longest match length return value is used by the text input to color the text to show how much of what you typed is correct. Thus, it must be returned represent the longest substring match even if that match is not complete and thus results is empty. I feel like I could explain that better, but that's still a much better explanation than was already there. Okay. All right. So that's fine. It's time for me to take a break again. I may be back later tonight, may not. We will see. In the meantime, I guess today is mostly doing text input stuff. Like we're going to attack these two things. And this one's easy. The flickering, who knows? We will look at it. I think I know what it is. It's just weird. I don't know why it is flickering. So maybe I don't know what it is. Anyway, we will solve those. And then we'll maybe do new widgets tonight if I want to make a late night out of it. We'll see. We've been doing great so far. Yeah. All right. Thank you, people, for coming by. No raids for now. We might do one later. And bye-bye.